Have you ever felt like you were at war with you? Like there was this internal struggle between the you that you are presently presenting and the you that you desire to be privately? Have you ever felt like you were struggling to show up as this authentic version of yourself because there has been this box that other people have placed you in that you just don't fit comfortably in anymore? When you were first given this box, you obliged, you were unsure of how you were going to fit all of your bigness, all of your fun, all of your ideas into this box. But because of what you experienced, you got into the box. And because of the weight that you were carrying, because of the lies that you were holding, because of the secrets that you were told that you had to keep, you were placed inside of this box. And though reluctantly you got in this box, you are now in a place where you are having an internal tug of war. It is this back and forth motion between the you that you are presently presenting and the place where you are privately. The place where you are privately, the person that you internally are is at war. It is at odds with the person that you show up to be in everyday life. You are not satisfied with the way you're presenting, with the way you're speaking, but you do it not because you think it's going to help you go to your next level, but because you have been conditioned in that place. You have been conditioned to think this way. You have been conditioned to sound a particular way. You've been conditioned to interact with a certain type of people. You have been conditioned to believe that if you just stay on this particular course, it will produce what you desire. But internally, you're discovering that what you once desired is no longer what you presently desire, but you are unsure of how to break away from something that you've been known for your entire life. Because every time you have presented differently. Every time you have shown up differently in areas of your life, you have experienced rejection. You have experienced people not appreciating or really embracing you the way that you're used to. And although you really despise how you have to show up, secretly you want to be accepted. Secretly you want to be loved. And I know sometimes, we show up and we say, it doesn't matter if people like me. It doesn't matter what other people think. But really internally, you are a people pleaser. Really internally, you have been pleasing people your entire life. That's how you've gotten to this place that you are in. You have been pleasing people and not serving yourself. And the truth of the matter is, it's not your fault, because you've been conditioned from when you were little to show up as this version of yourself, because those around you, even though they didn't know it, they were putting limitations on you that you were never meant to carry. So I have a 7-year-old, and she is fabulous, right? We are like completely opposite. And what I mean by being completely opposite, she loves to talk. She loves to, joke. She loves to do things like that. And I talk, I joke, but it's at a different level. Like everything she says is like, okay, that was a joke. But she is also a child, right? And so I am learning, and I am intentional about not shutting down what I don't understand. I'm intentional about not putting my mouth on her when I don't know what to properly say, because what the Bible tells us is that many times as parents, parents are correcting children for their benefit. But that is God who corrects the child or the person that belongs to him for their benefit, not for his own benefit. Because God is great, he's righteous, he's holy. So it benefits the person that is being corrected to be corrected by God. But many times as parents, we can correct our children and yet it have no benefit for them. I remember an experience I had at work. I was working for a multi-billion-dollar company running multi-million-dollar stores. I was a leader in the organization, an executive. And there were times where my direct leader would correct me. He would go to correct me. And I would have a conversation with the Spirit of the living God. And I remember one day the Spirit of the living God said to me, be careful what people are criticizing about you, because it's the exact thing I want to use. See, there are some times where people come into your space and they don't know very much about the God who created you. They don't know very much about how he designed you. They don't know very much about what you were brought forth into the earth realm to do. And so what happens is they begin to critique you, and they begin to say things about how you should show up. They begin to desire ways to alter your very presence. And if I'm honest with you, this has been something that I have dealt with my entire life, where people have come into my space, whether it was men or women, and they have tried to alter who I was. They have tried to mold me to fit into this particular box of what they desired for me to be. I remember this guy who was interested in dating me, and he said, you know what? I'm excited about this journey because I can kind of mold you how I want to. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? Because it wasn't the first time I heard it. It wasn't the first time that I had seen that somebody who entered into my life wanted me to fit their idea of who I should be. And if you're anything like me, you've probably experienced that. You have probably experienced people showing up in your life, whether they blatantly told it to you or whether they just subtly came into your life and they begin to drop seeds. Now, every seed that is dropped, you might not notice it. See, the mustard seed is the smallest seed out of all the herbs, but it produces a mighty tree. And sometimes when seeds are dropped, we are unaware of it, but our subconscious picks it up. Our subconscious grabs a hold of it, and it can take root and grow if it is planted in the right environment. Now, even if the seed has not been sent forth to produce a good harvest, it can still manifest a result. And how is that possible? It's all about the environment. See, if you have this internal environment that is not rejecting that seed because you're not speaking certain things to yourself, you haven't been taught how to defend your mind, how to defend your identity, how to defend who you are as a person, many times you will absorb the seeds that have been planted. You will absorb what has been given to you instead of rejecting it, instead of refusing to allow that thing to grow. And then sometimes that seed will grow in you. And if you don't notice that it's a weed instead of a plant that was meant to flourish, you will allow it to remain there. And what will happen is it will begin to produce fruit. And that fruit will begin to show up in your life. The Bible tells us that we will know them by their fruit. And many times we have had seeds planted in our lives that have produced a fruit that is showing up in every area of our lives, and we are unsure of why it's there. It's there because we did not have the wherewithal, the knowledge, the acumen to understand that, wait a minute, I need to cut this down before it gets any bigger. I need to move it out of the way before it takes over me, because many times we are allowing other people's idea of who we are to take over. And that's where that uncomfortability comes from, because you've known this particular version of you for your entire existence, but now you're in a place where you're realizing that that version of me, how I presented, is not truly who I am. And the place is uncomfortable because you're coming from what's familiar to the unfamiliar. As you embark on this journey of becoming the version of you that you long for, as you become the version of you that you have been designed to be, what's going to happen is you're going to enter into uncharted territory. Now listen, when you enter into uncharted territory, it is so important that you do not retreat, because a lot of times we enter into this uncharted territory and we begin to retreat because we don't know what to do with a land that we have never encountered before. But when you put one foot in front of the other, when you believe that this journey that you are going on is going to take you to higher heights, it's going to allow you to identify differently, it's going to allow you to show up, and it's going to bring a new levels of success that you have yet to achieve, then you continue to put one foot in front of the other. You refuse to retreat and go backwards, but what you decide is that you are going to dominate in the direction that you're going. You decide that you are going going to move according to the beat that has been defined based on your design and not the beat that has been given to you by the other people that you have connected to. There are some people who have come into your life to crush you. They did not know that that was their assignment. But in the crushing of you, what they allowed you to do is to discover that you were never meant to be the version that they desired of you. One thing that I love about the God that we serve is that what the enemy meant for evil, God will allow to work out for your good. And it is only people who are close enough to touch you, only people who are close enough to speak into your life that can alter how you show up. See, many times we get frustrated and we're like, this person was supposed to be my friend. This person was supposed to be my family. This person was supposed to be someone who loved me. But it is only people who are close enough to you who can have an impact on you to that level. And as you are walking out this new version of you, as you are deciding that I'm no longer going to remain in this place of this tug of war, but I'm going to embrace where the new direction is taking me, this new direction being the plan for you to be the version of yourself that you were always meant to be. When you decide to say yes to this new direction, no matter how uncomfortable it will be, you will stop meditating on the fact of the position that the people occupied in your life that hurt you. I'm going to say that again, because many times we are so frustrated with the fact that the people who were closest to us betrayed us. Jesus Christ, who should be our example when we are walking things out in life, was betrayed by Judas. And Judas was close enough to him in his inner circle in the 12 that when Judas went to go betray Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, here's what he told the men of the temple. Here's what he told them, these high priests. He said, I'm going to go up to him, and the man that I kiss, that's him. This meant that Jesus allowed Judas to be in his personal space, because I don't know if you're anything like me, but we just don't let people kiss us all willy-nilly, right? Like, I don't know that people were just coming up to Jesus, kissing him all the time. But Judas was close enough to him to be the person who was responsible for the ministry finances. He was close enough to him to be able to embrace Jesus in a way that outsiders could not. But Judas was also close enough to be able to catapult Jesus into the very reason why he came into the earth. Many times Jesus was saying, my time has not come. He needed a Judas in his life in order for his time to come. He needed Judas to be so frustrated. He needed Judas to be so disgusted that he would allow Satan to enter into his heart so that Judas could betray Jesus Christ, so Jesus Christ could go to the cross. See, there's a cross that you were meant to bear. There's a cross that you were meant to carry, but many times you're refusing to carry it. You're refusing to identify what has been so uncomfortable, because before Judas hugs Jesus in the garden, what happens is Jesus is in a place of internal conflict. He knows exactly what he was designed to do by the Spirit of the living God, but yet he's in a place where he is wrestling back and forth internally, and he's saying, listen, you around me, my disciples, I need you to pray. He wasn't necessarily saying pray that I don't have to do what I need to do, because he was praying that prayer for himself. He didn't even tell his disciples why they were praying, but what he said was he needed a group of men around him who would pray. You need a group of people around you who are going to pray. They are going to pray the will of God. They are going to pray the direction of God. They are going to pray for your strength. What Jesus wanted in that very moment was for people to pray for his strength, because he knew that the cup he was going to have to drink from was not a cup that was going to be sweet, but it was a cup of bitterness. And many times, because people have been trying to shape you, and they have been trying to mold you, and they have been trying to get you to fit into this box, you have been experiencing this bitter cup. But in this season, as you begin to appreciate the bitter cup, as you begin to appreciate the bitterness that you have experienced in your life, you can then begin to walk into the goodness that belongs to you, because it was only when Jesus drank from the bitter cup that he was able to drink with the Father forever in heaven. Now we know that Jesus came from the Father and he would go back to the Father, but it was not until he drank the bitter cup in this life that he was able to ascend to his next level. So your next level, the level where you authentically identify as the daughter of God, where you authentically identify as the son of God, where you authentically identify as one who was brought into the earth for a purpose that is larger than you, that you need other people around you to help to position you properly to become exactly who God called you, that you will appreciate the very internal friction that you are experiencing. That internal friction is not for you to retreat, but that internal friction is for you to go forward. It is that friction, it's that fire, it is that place where you are going to be divinely, uniquely appointed to move in a way that you have not otherwise moved. And here's the thing. A lot of times we don't want to experience the hard because we think the hard is just too hard. It brings with it this emotional anguish that we don't desire to engage in, right? Like nobody wants to be hurt emotionally. Nobody wants to bear the weight of the emotional burdens that come with the struggles of really having to recalibrate your identity as a person. Nobody wants to deal with the emotional weight that comes with really identifying that those closest to you are the only people who can never betray you. And so that you run the risk every time you open yourself up to people of being hurt in some way. Now, there will be levels to the hurt, but because people are imperfect and the only way that God can get you from where you are to where he desires for you to be is through the utilization of people, you have to appreciate that people, when they come in your life, have the ability and they have the propensity to burn you. And in knowing that, still openly loving, still openly appreciating, still openly applauding, still openly showing up as the true, authentic version of yourself. But here's the thing. You have struggled with showing up as this version of yourself because, like I said in the beginning of this video, you have been placed into this box. You got into this box because the box was more comfortable than you raising your hand and saying, "That's not me." But in this season, you are going to raise your hand more frequently. In this season, you are going to stop people more frequently. In this season, you're going to stop yourself more frequently. And you are going to identify if this place, if this idea, if this thought pattern is serving you. And if it does not serve the new version of you, then you're going to reject it. If it only serves to bring you back to the old version of who you have been, you are going to reject it. But if it serves as a way for you to walk into the new version of you, you are going to accept it. You're going to say, this is what I need to go to the next level. And the new things that are going to present themselves, they might not feel good. They're not going to feel good. And why are they not going to feel good? They're not going to feel good because they're not going to be familiar. We prefer what's familiar because we're afraid of the unknown. But in this season, you're not going to fear what you don't know. You are going to fiercely follow after the heart of God concerning where you're going. So this means that you have to become more acquainted with God in the secret place. This means you have to be more intentional about reading God's word. This means you have to be more intentional about discovering what it is that God is saying to you so you don't get distracted and so you don't go off in a meadow looking for something that was never assigned to you. As you begin to accept the fact that the reason you are wrestling on the inside is because you need to, in order for you to be this new version of yourself, you'll appreciate the struggle more. This is a season where you have a level of gratitude for your struggle. This is a season where you have a level of appreciation for the pain of your past. No longer pitying you, but really applauding the process. Really appreciating what it took for you to become this version of you. God knows how you take. He knows exactly what you needed in order to become uncomfortable with where you are. He knew that people would come into your life seeking to crush you. But the great news is that in him, he made you indestructible. That means that you can step into him and become recalibrated, become realigned and repositioned for exactly what he called you to. And he will use what the enemy meant for evil to work out for your good. This is a time and a season where you appreciate you at a much higher level, where you appreciate the struggle, where you appreciate the resistance, and where you appreciate your call. Listen, I pray that this video blessed you, that as you go throughout this video, you take notes and you take action, that you are no longer going to allow yourself to meditate on the negativity of your past, but you are going to allow yourself to be set like a flint. Your face is going to be so focused on where you're going that you refuse to retreat. You refuse to go backwards. You refuse to accept the fruit of what is not serving you. And so I am looking forward to seeing you in another video. Bye for now.